Welcome everyone to this CELPIP Writing Part 2 Responding to Surveys Analysis. Now I'm just here in the Writing Part 2 section of the CELPIP library. And before we get started, I do want to remind you that Writing Part 2 focuses more on CLB 7 or higher. What does that mean? Well, that means that if you need to get CLB 7 or higher, then you need to demonstrate your knowledge more in this part because you can. Okay? Writing part 2 is giving your opinion or responding with your opinions and viewpoints about a more difficult topic than part 1. Okay? The topic can be something that is more comprehensive or more difficult to understand. So higher levels need to have that kind of knowledge and information more than lower levels, okay? And also, in this part, you can demonstrate your language skills more because you can use higher level grammar structures and even higher level vocabulary than in part 1, okay? So CLB 7 or higher, you need to demonstrate your knowledge more in this part than in part 1. Now, for lower levels, this means that this question can be a little more complicated than part 1, and it can be more difficult to understand some of the vocabulary or to have some of the knowledge that you require to answer this question more than in part 1. For that reason, if you don't do so well in part 2, let's say you don't write many words or you just write a few words, can you still get 5 or 6? Yes, absolutely. Because part 1 is the part where lower levels can show more their knowledge. Okay? So lower levels, don't worry if we don't respond so strongly in this part, because part 2 is not so important for CLB 4, 5, or 6. Okay, great. I hope that was clear. Also, I want to remind you about our Writing Part 2 Survey Response Tips and Strategies video, okay? This video will give you some more strategies or tips that you can use for understanding the question, for what ideas you can express, for how you can construct your answer, okay? What kind of language to use. Some of the tips and strategies that I will be using, and I will be mentioning a few of those, but this video is full details, okay? Provides full details of that information. So I will leave a link in the description box to that video. Okay, so then let's look at today's example lesson. Online security, very interesting. So now everyone, you will notice that here in the front page, we have two options, CLB 5-6 or CLB 7-9. Okay, so based on the level that you need, you can choose which one of those you would like, okay? Which level is better for you. So also you will notice that both of these samples include vocabulary building. Now, vocabulary building is great for building your vocabulary for all levels, okay? Now, this section includes some vocabulary words that we can use in this sample, the meanings, synonyms, antonyms, and then more importantly, it has this great exercise where you read the sentence, okay? You read the sentence here, and you choose one word from the list to put in this sentence to complete it. Great exercise, okay, to improve your vocabulary. Then we have this great sentence building exercise, okay? So depending on your level, it's different, but sentence building for 7-9, we can see here that it's trying to teach us about using since, okay? And how we can connect two sentences using since. Great for sentence structure. And after that, we have this great exercise where you need to complete the sentence by using since with one of these reason clauses. Great exercise for building sentence structure. Okay, and then everyone, we have our question for the day. Okay. Also, before we get started with that, I do want to remind you about the writing part 2 tips and strategies, or I'm just going to focus on a few that I think are very important, okay? And the first one for that is, well, very important to know about what is required for part 2, okay? All right. And basically, the ones that I think are very important are, well, about our sentence construction and grammar. Very important for whatever level you need, but if you need a higher level, basically what we don't want to do is make any simple errors here in this part. And we want to try to use some higher level grammar knowledge. And I'm going to try and do that today, okay? And then for lower levels, basically we should try not to make many mistakes in general, okay? Also, very important about providing a complete response, responding to all the parts, okay? And of course, the more language that you can use, the better, all right? And for that, using the correct tone, paragraphing, and sequencing is very important, okay? So for that reason, usually in the survey response, our email tone, usually it's semi-formal, but sometimes it's formal. What's the difference? Well, the only difference is that in formal, we don't usually use contractions, okay? Or we don't use that much informal expression, okay? And the language is more academic. So in semi-formal, we can use contractions, all right, or short form, and we can use some more informal language. And so that's about tone. The last part is how are we going to structure our survey, okay? And basically you can see we are going to need 4 to 5 paragraphs, okay? And here in each paragraph, you can see what we're going to do for each paragraph. And then using some great sequencing language. Okay, everyone? Now, I will talk about that more clearly in the sample lesson. Okay? So then, everyone, the last thing that I will mention is that we need to try to keep our word count between 150 to 200 words. That is for the maximum, okay? But you can write a few more words than 200 as long as it's a few, okay? And also you can write less than 150 for lower levels. Lower levels, maybe 130, 140, that's okay. Or actually for 4, 5, and 6, you can write even 100 words. It's okay, as long as it's clear. Okay? All right. So for higher levels, it's not really about, of course, even if you wrote 300 or 400 words, it's not really, the word count is not important. It's about expressing the ideas correctly. Okay, everyone, then let's get started with today's question analysis. And everyone, this will be a CLB 7 to 9 example, okay? So, bank security survey. Okay, very good. Your bank has had many clients be scammed online and through the telephone. Well, scamming online, that's true these days. So terrible. It's happening everywhere. Okay. So the bank would like to increase its security features by providing better security measures. Okay, very good. Very good topic. Okay. So, what are our options? Option A, Retina scan services. This would be available for online accounts and ATM machines. There would be a $10 monthly charge for this service. Okay, all right. So online accounts and ATM, retina scan. Okay. What about option B, fingerprint services? This would be available only for online services. This service would be free with a checking account. Well, okay. I think many online services already have both of these. Well, I don't know about retina scan, but definitely fingerprint services. Okay. Well, at least here in Canada, we have those. So, everyone, let's remember that we are writing a 7 to 9 example. Okay. And we are going to be trying to ensure that, well, we write between 190 to 200 words. Always, this helps us get a higher score. Okay. Let's make sure we do that. We also need to try to explain ideas more clearly with stronger meaning. Okay, we're going to try and explain ideas. I'll illustrate that. We're going to try to use higher level vocabulary and more academic words, okay, if we can. Higher level grammar, present perfect, passive voice, conditionals, and modalities. Okay, right. And of course, very few grammar errors and almost, well, I would say no spelling errors because we have spell checks. Okay. Also, let me remind you, everyone, that for this, I'm going to be following the survey structure in our tips and strategies guide. Okay. I find this guide really explains things well. 5 paragraphs, 4 or 5. I'm going to maybe try to show a third one in this example, and we're going to follow each one of these. Okay. And so I've already highlighted that in my board here. And we're going to start off with our greeting, okay? Let's start off with our greeting. So, dear Scotiabank Bank Manager, to start, I'm so grateful to be part of this bank security survey for your customers. Okay, very good. Yes, that's exactly what we need to do. We don't need something really strong in the beginning, it's more important later on, but that's exactly the kind of intro we need. And next, which option I choose. Okay. In my opinion, option B, having fingerprint services, would be much more beneficial for providing more secure banking services. Okay, so this is the option we chose. Okay, we said it clearly. And what is it good for? For providing more secure banking services. Exactly. That's exactly what we need here, everyone. I'm just going to zoom in here to be clearer. Okay. So you can see, everyone, that um, we answered both parts that we need to answer, who we're writing and which option we choose. That's what we need to do, and we did it well. So now we're going to get to the first reason. Okay, what is the first reason for our choice? Okay, so we're going to get to our first idea. All right, here we go. First and most importantly, I believe that fingerprint security system would be much more convenient and user-friendly for your customers. Okay, so very good. The fingerprint security system would be much more convenient, very good, and user-friendly. So we set two good ideas of why it's better. Okay? More convenient and user-friendly. So let's explain that a little more. Let's explain. So we're explaining by giving an example here. For example, many digital platforms have already been using fingerprint technology. Okay, that's true. Your smartphone. So people have gotten accustomed to these services. So because people have already been using fingerprint security features, fingerprint technology, customers or people have already gotten accustomed, so they know how to use them well. Perfect. So everyone, just to be clear, okay, we gave our idea about fingerprint security system would be much more convenient and user-friendly. We exemplified that by saying that people or many digital platforms already use fingerprint technology. So people are accustomed to it, okay? And that's why it's more convenient and user-friendly. So now, about this paragraph, something that I see here which is strong. Well, I see really strong expression for sure. Fingerprint security system, more convenient, user-friendly, digital platforms, fingerprint technology, gotten accustomed. All these are really good words. Now as well, we are using here present perfect continuous and present perfect passive, actually, have gotten accustomed. So strong grammar as well in this point, okay? Very good. So that's one reason. What's my next reason? Let's look. Another important reason is that this new service would not have any extra fees for your customers. Okay. It did say here no extra fees, right? It did say here with free with a checking account. Okay. In general, checking account is a kind of account. Okay. So no extra fees. Will not have any extra fees. And why is that important? We should explain here. So this would be great because, as you may know, customers do not appreciate any extra banking fees. And there are other financial institutions offering these services at no charge. All right, very good. Very good idea as well. No extra fees. Okay. Well, if I look at this one, I'm going to say that it's strong because of the explanation. Customers don't want extra fees. Okay, customers do not appreciate. I guess here we put do not appreciate, but we could also put in here would not appreciate. Okay? And many other financial institutions offering at no charge. At no charge. So strong expression, and we've said so much already, everyone. I feel it's good. For 7 and 8, it's already good. We should get to the closing though, but I'm going to add another idea here. As you see, I'm putting a third reason. And what am I going to do? Let me see here. Let me show you to illustrate. Okay. On the other hand, I think that the retina scan services wouldn't be as effective because they could be confusing and odd for customers to adopt, especially for your older clients. Okay. Additionally, the extra fee could anger some of your loyal customers. Very good third reason. Very good third reason. Now, just to explain this reason, everyone, and it's a very strong recommendation. If you add a third reason, a very good way for you to analyze that is to suggest an idea for the other side, or say why the other side is not good. Look very carefully. It says here, the retina scan services, the other option. Because remember, we had the two options here, retina scan services, fingerprint services. We chose fingerprint services. So now for our third idea, we suggested something of why the retina scan services wouldn't be effective. Wouldn't be as effective. You see? Wouldn't be as effective. Okay? And we said it could be confusing and odd. Especially older people. That's true. Very true. And then we added an extra idea here. Just the extra fee could anger loyal customers. Okay. Very strong. Yes. Another third, that other third idea was very strong. Okay. Very good grammar as well. Modals here could be confusing. All right. So now we're going to get to our closing. Let's say your opinion again. Okay. Overall, I strongly support the idea of establishing a fingerprint security service because it could be much more suitable and efficient for your customers. Very good. Very good. Yes. Okay. It could be, it says here, it would be much more suitable. We said user friendly, convenient, and efficient. Works well. Okay, very good. And our signature in the end. Thank you for your attention. Sincerely, first and last. And how many words do we have here? Let's see. 199. Okay, everyone. 199 words. Well, let's summarize. Okay, everyone. So, 199 words. Okay, so everyone then, it's 9 or higher for sure because we've constructed this email, this survey, we've organized so well using very strong connection and sequencing. This is so important for higher levels. Higher levels usually organize their ideas so strong. Now, I've used here, again, the blue here is just an example. But there are many other ways to connect, okay? I'm just giving you this example, but what I want to say is that it's very well organized and that is always stronger, okay? Now, the second reason is because we've given 3 strong ideas, 3 very strong ideas to explain our opinion. And that is always higher level, okay? Now, level 7s to 8s, actually, you don't need to give this idea here. 7 to 8s, you can just give 2. 2 ideas would be great for 7 to 8. But 9 or higher, 3 ideas, 200 words, stronger. And then the third reason, of course, is the language and expression we've used, okay? We've used modals, we've used present perfect, we've used stronger language to express our ideas, okay? So that is another reason why it is 9 or higher. 7 to 8, again, we don't express ideas so strongly, okay? We don't need to, and that's definitely one thing. The more you express, the stronger you express, the higher your score, okay? All right, then everyone, to practice, what can we do to practice? Well, to practice, we need to read and understand. We need to read and understand how we have organized and sequenced these ideas, okay? Very good for you to develop that read and understand what we've done. How have we connected? Okay, how have we organized from beginning to end? All right. Secondly, we need to understand how we've expressed ideas. How did we express ideas? What language did we use? And what did we use to explain ourselves? Very important to read and understand. Okay? Next, after that, read and type. Read and type. Practice typing this example in 26 minutes or less. Okay, are you a good typer? I'm not sure, but you should be able to type this answer, reading and typing it, in 26 minutes. Okay, and if you're a fast typer, even less. But reading and understanding and typing it helps us develop this writing. And lastly, everyone, can you type this example without reading it? Can you type it? Can you do that? Well, if you can do that, then you are this level. Okay? You are this level. If you can type it out without reading in 26 minutes, then that is your level. Now, everyone, please make sure you have to type it from your knowledge, not from memory. Okay, you should be able to say. On the other hand, I think the retina scan services wouldn't be as effective because this service could be very confusing and odd, especially for older customers. You see, that's the idea that we said over here, but I said it from my knowledge, not from memory. After you read it and type it out for 3, 4 times, depending on your level, you should be able to type it by yourself, depending on your level, okay, everyone? And so for that, I will be leaving a link in the description box to the sample question, okay? And you will be able to read the sample answer and practice typing it out by yourself, okay? And also in that link, you will find some vocabulary building, which is very good for building your vocabulary, and some sentence structure. I think today's concept was about using since, and we used it several times in our writing. So that will help you develop your sentence structure, okay? So then, everyone, let's not forget about CELPIP Library. CELPIP Library has over 60 examples of writing part 2. And all these examples will help you improve your writing part 2 knowledge and structure and language. So I strongly recommend subscribing to the CELPIP Library. And right now, with discount code CELPIP79, again, discount code CELPIP79, you can get a 3-month subscription for only $10.99 Canadian. That's a great deal, everyone, and I strongly recommend it. Don't forget, practice makes perfect.